So, hello, love. So, every time I come to you, I talk about love because I think that is the most important thing. I think it is the way of being. I think it is what we're called to do in life is to love. And I believe that love is what generates peace and it generates harmony and it generates joy. It generates abundance and well-being. When we love wholeheartedly. When we love from this place within us, from the depth of our very soul, we then give of the very best we know how in one moment at a time with whatever experience we're in. And we're doing what we do from the very best of our ability. And that's truly what love is. I just recently lost someone in my life. It was my brother who took his last breath about not quite 2 weeks ago. And for especially the last year and a half, I would go and talk to him and tell him the things that I loved about him. There were a lot of things that we shared that were not lovely because he kind of worked hard at being an unkind person. But there were also really good things about him. And those are the things that I extended to him when I would go visit him. I would tell him, I would thank him for giving me my first dog, not my first dog, but my first Lhasa Apso, because I've had two of them. And he gave me my first one. He gave me lots and lots of books. He gave me he helped me and sometimes when I really needed help and there was nobody else to help me. And he was there for me. And he did it in a big way. And he did it with kindness. And he did it out of love. There were so many things. And so each time I was with him, I would oftentimes repeat because he was in a care facility. He was in an assistant living center and he wasn't able to get up and move. He couldn't walk. He could move his arms, but he couldn't lift himself up. He couldn't walk. He couldn't sit up after a while. He was just bedridden. So he couldn't do anything, but he was always really intelligent and very smart, but he was able to tune in to what it was I was saying to him. And so I would tell him the different things that I loved and the things that I appreciated. The last conversation I had with him when he was aware that I was there, at least that I knew that he was there, was about a week before he left the planet. And he was kind of looking off to the side, or rather sleeping. It appeared he was sleeping. And I just talked to him as if he wasn't really, as if he was really listening to me. I just talked to him anyway. But when I told him I loved him in the middle of that conversation, or in the middle of the time I was talking to him, I told him I loved him. He opened his eyes a little bit and looked at me. And then he turned away and went back to sleep again. And then when I left that day, I again told him that I loved him. And he opened his eyes and held my gaze. And I said, it's okay if you go back to sleep. It's all right. And so he did. And so the times that I saw him after that, he was just sleeping the whole time. And that was the last time I actually was with him where I knew that he was aware that I was there. Now, I've written a book and I published it in February, and it's called Twice the Afterlife. The art for that book is behind me, and I put it on the cover. And it's about my two different near-death experiences and what I experienced there in that realm of, some people call it heaven, the next realm, the next dimension, however you want to term it, and coming back and what it is that I learned from it. And I believe that's what my reason for being on this planet is to convey to you the purpose of what love is, because that's what I got there in a bigger way than I could even imagine. So my book talks a lot about that. It talks about intuition. It talks about the powers that we have and the abilities that we have to live life full out right here and to live in a way that we experience love, we pass love along to other people, we do our best to extend that in whatever we do, and how it brightens our life. It brightens up what it is that we do. And whether the person we're extending it to gets it or not, because sometimes they don't, you still know that you've done the right thing. You still know you've done your very best. And it's coming from the highest and best of yourself. What's more important than that? And so my book, Twice the Afterlife, is now an audiobook. Just got through creating it. It's on Amazon. It's also on Audible. And so you can get Twice the Afterlife and listen to it. And please let me know what you think, because I think it's pretty cool how it's all turned out. It's done through AI, and I had to work it a lot to get it to, been working on it for like the last 5 weeks or so. Got it published on Sunday. And I have people letting me know that they've been listening to it and they really like it. But what's interesting about having worked on this for the last 5 weeks, it was also during the time that I knew was going to be the end of my brother's days here on this planet. And so everything that I had worked through, having written this book and published it in February, this year in February, I had to work through it again by listening to it 5 different times in order to create it into an audiobook, which I did for the last 5 weeks. So I'm always interested in how all these things kind of come together in synchronicities. Here I was going to visit my brother, spending time with him, knowing that the time was limited. And whatever I said to him, always wanted it to be from love. Always wanted it to be from this place of the good things that I saw in him and the things that I shared with him. And there were a lot of really amazing things that happened in probably last 6 weeks that I shared with him, which were pretty lovely. But now he's not here. And I find myself thinking about him a lot and coming back to this place of knowing that that still exists, that this love that I have for him still exists. And he gets it in the dimension that he's in. And he continues to go on. And we continue to have relationships with people who've moved on. They continue to teach us. We continue to communicate. The veil between the worlds is very, very small. And so if you want to know anything about any of this and you want something else, because there's a lot of information out there about these things, please either read my book or listen to it, or you can contact me. I'll certainly leave my website right here. And I have a lot of workshops about things like this. But the main thing is always coming from love, always doing your best from love, always doing whatever you can to the best of your ability, whatever it is you're doing in life, from love, from peace, from harmony, from joy, from gratitude, from this place of abundance within you, which is ever growing, ever expanding, ever becoming something even greater still. And as we do this, we step into our greater becoming. As we do this, we know that we've done the best we can. And we know that we've left this energy, this vibrancy, this resonance with whoever that we've extended this to, and we pass it along. But we got to leave that with ourselves to know that what it is that we've done is the very best we can do. And I believe I did that for my brother. And so I just continue to send you lots of love. And as my grandma, who's been gone for a very long time, used to say, love you bunches. Bye for now.